Jonathan McGregor stood on the balcony of the Galactic Council Hall, his gaze fixed on the magnificent skyline of Imperius Prime. The towering spires and glimmering domes were a testament to the Empire's architectural prowess and technological advancements. The city's hum was a constant reminder of its vitality and strength. He was there for a crucial diplomatic meeting with the Empire's Council, representing Earth's interests and its place in the galactic order. Jonathan, a seasoned commander with a reputation for strategic brilliance, wore his polished uniform with pride. He was a symbol of humanity's potential and its hope for a peaceful integration into the Galactic Empire. The meeting began with the usual formalities, the council members exchanging pleasantries and discussing routine matters. Jonathan's thoughts, however, were elsewhere. He had a nagging feeling, a sense that something was amiss. His instincts had never failed him before, and he trusted them implicitly. Just as the discussion started to delve into more serious topics, an urgent transmission interrupted the proceedings. The holographic screen in the center of the chamber flickered to life, displaying a frantic message from Earth. The words were stark and chilling. "Run for your lives!" The council members erupted in confusion and disbelief. Some dismissed the message as a prank, while others demanded an immediate investigation. Jonathan's heart raced. He knew this was no joke. The tone of the message and the dire warning it conveyed were all too real. "Quiet!" Jonathan's voice cut through the clamor. "We need to investigate this immediately. This is not a matter to be taken lightly." The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to him. He could see skepticism in their faces, but he didn't waver. "Dr. Hawkins, I need you to assist me," he said, turning to his confidant, Dr. Amelia Hawkins. Amelia was a brilliant scientist, known for her analytical mind and unwavering dedication to uncovering the truth. Amelia nodded, her expression serious. Together, they left the council chamber and headed to the Imperial Science Division. The corridors were bustling with activity, but Jonathan and Amelia moved with purpose. They reached the lab and began their investigation, tracing the origin of the message. Hours passed as they pored over data, cross-referencing signals, and analyzing the transmission. Finally, they found a lead, a derelict human spaceship floating on the outskirts of the galaxy. It had been presumed lost for years, but now it seemed to hold the key to the mystery. "We need to get to that ship," Jonathan said, his voice resolute. Amelia agreed, and they quickly prepared for their journey. They requisitioned a scout vessel, sleek and fast, capable of traversing the vast distances of space. As they departed, Jonathan couldn't shake the feeling that they were racing against time. The journey to the derelict ship was tense. Amelia worked tirelessly, decoding fragments of the distress signal they had intercepted. Jonathan piloted the vessel, his mind focused on the task ahead. When they finally reached their destination, the sight that greeted them was haunting. The once majestic ship now drifted aimlessly, its hull scarred and battered. They boarded the vessel, the air inside stale and heavy. The corridors were dark, illuminated only by the faint glow of emergency lights. As they made their way to the ship's command center, they found traces of an unknown alien technology. It was unlike anything they had seen before, and it sent a chill down Jonathan's spine. Amelia worked quickly, her fingers flying over the console as she accessed the ship's logs. What they discovered was alarming. The distress signal had been sent as a warning. A supermassive black hole was on a collision course with the galaxy. The message from Earth had been a desperate plea for survival. "We need to get this information back to Imperius Prime," Jonathan said urgently. "The Empire must know what's coming." As they prepared to leave, their ship's sensors detected a disturbance. The black hole's gravitational pull was stronger than anticipated, and they were caught in its wake. Jonathan's skills as a pilot were put to the test as he fought to maneuver the ship to safety. The vessel groaned under the strain, but Jonathan's determination never wavered. With a final burst of effort, they broke free from the black hole's grasp and set a course back to the Galactic Empire. They transmitted a detailed report, hoping the Council would heed their warning. The derelict spaceship loomed ahead, its once proud structure now a ghostly remnant drifting through the void. Jonathan McGregor guided their scout vessel alongside the battered hull, careful to avoid the jagged edges where meteoroids had scarred the surface. He and Dr. Amelia Hawkins donned their helmets and prepared for the boarding. As they crossed into the lifeless vessel, the silence was profound, broken only by the occasional creak of stressed metal. They moved methodically through the dark corridors, their suit lights cutting narrow paths through the darkness. The command center was their goal, where the logs and data could explain the mysterious distress signal. Amelia worked swiftly, her fingers dancing over the console as she decrypted the ship's logs. The fragments they found were alarming. An unknown cosmic phenomenon, a supermassive black hole, was on a collision course with the galaxy. "This ship's crew tried to warn us," Amelia said, her voice tinged with urgency. "We need to get this information back to Imperius Prime immediately." Jonathan nodded, already moving towards the exit. They had no time to lose. As they navigated back to their vessel, Jonathan's mind raced with the implications. The black hole represented a threat that could annihilate entire star systems. Their warning to the Galactic Empire had to be heeded, or countless lives would be lost. Back on the scout vessel, they initiated the jump back to Imperius Prime. The journey was tense, with both of them silent, contemplating the enormity of their discovery. As they approached the Empire's capital, Jonathan transmitted their findings to the Galactic Council. The response was immediate. They were summoned to present their evidence. The council chamber was filled with officials and military personnel. The mood was skeptical as Jonathan and Amelia began their presentation. They detailed the ship's logs, the data on the black hole, and the potential devastation it could cause. The council members whispered among themselves, their expressions a mix of doubt and concern. "Commander McGregor, are you suggesting we evacuate entire star systems based on the data from a derelict ship?" One counselor asked, her tone dismissive. Jonathan stepped forward, his eyes locking with hers. "I'm suggesting we prepare for the worst. The evidence is compelling, and we cannot afford to ignore it." Admiral Marcus Tiberius, who had always been wary of Jonathan's bold approaches, stood up. "We need more than compelling evidence, Commander. We need irrefutable proof." Amelia, sensing the mounting resistance, intervened. "We propose a reconnaissance mission to gather more data. With the prototype ship, we can reach the black hole and confirm our findings." The council deliberated, their discussions intense and urgent. Finally, they granted permission for the mission, but with conditions. Jonathan and Amelia were to lead a team, including Admiral Tiberius, to verify the threat. They had a narrow window of time, and failure was not an option. The prototype ship, sleek and equipped with the latest technology, was prepared for departure. As they boarded, Jonathan glanced at Amelia. "We have to make them see the truth, Amelia. It's our only chance." The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them towards the coordinates of the black hole. The journey was fraught with tension, each member of the crew acutely aware of the stakes. As they neared their destination, the ship's sensors picked up the immense gravitational forces at play. They arrived at the edge of the event horizon, the sheer magnitude of the black hole evident in the readings. Amelia worked tirelessly to gather data, while Jonathan coordinated the observations. The data confirmed their worst fears. The black hole was accelerating, its trajectory set to intersect with the heart of the galaxy. "We have what we need," Amelia said, her voice barely masking her anxiety. "We need to get this back to Imperius Prime." But as they prepared to leave, the ship shuddered. The gravitational pull was stronger than anticipated, and they struggled to break free. Jonathan's piloting skills were pushed to the limit as he fought to maneuver the ship out of danger. The engines strained, and alarms blared, but through sheer skill and determination, he managed to guide them to safety. The return trip was harrowing, but they made it back to Imperius Prime. The council reconvened, and this time Jonathan and Amelia presented irrefutable evidence. The data was clear. The black hole posed an imminent threat to the galaxy. The council's skepticism melted away, replaced by a sense of urgency and determination. Plans for evacuation and defense were set in motion. Jonathan and Amelia had succeeded in their mission, but they knew the real challenge was just beginning. They had to coordinate a response that could save billions of lives, and time was running out. The atmosphere in the council chamber was electric. The evidence Jonathan and Amelia presented had transformed doubt into an urgent need for action. Discussions buzzed around evacuation plans, resource allocation, and defensive strategies. Jonathan watched the proceedings with a mixture of satisfaction and anxiety, aware that the real challenge was just beginning. The council had approved the reconnaissance mission, and preparations were underway. As Jonathan and Amelia readied themselves for departure, they could feel the weight of responsibility. Admiral Marcus Tiberius, a veteran of many conflicts, joined them with a stern expression. Despite their differences, he now recognized the severity of the situation. The prototype ship, gleaming with the latest advancements, awaited them. As they boarded, Jonathan addressed the crew. "Our mission is clear. We must confirm the data and provide the Council with irrefutable proof of the impending threat. Our success ensures the safety of billions." The ship's engines roared to life, and they set course for the coordinates of the black hole. The journey was tense, each crew member acutely aware of the stakes. The vastness of space stretched out before them, a silent testament to the galaxy's mysteries. As they neared the black hole, the ship's sensors picked up intense gravitational forces. The readings were off the charts, confirming the destructive potential of the phenomenon. Amelia worked diligently, gathering data while Jonathan piloted the vessel with precision. "These readings are unlike anything we've seen," Amelia said, her voice tight with focus. "We need to transmit this data back to the Council immediately." But just as they prepared to send the transmission, the ship shuddered violently. The gravitational pull was stronger than anticipated, and they found themselves ensnared. Jonathan's hands flew over the controls, attempting to stabilize the vessel. "Hold on, everyone," he shouted, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. The ship groaned under the strain, alarms blaring as systems struggled to cope with the immense forces. Admiral Tiberius moved to assist, his experience in crisis evident. "We need to divert power to the engines, or we'll be pulled in." Amelia quickly adjusted the power distribution, her fingers moving with practiced efficiency. The ship's engines roared, straining against the pull of the black hole. With a final, desperate push, they broke free from its grasp and surged away to safety. Breathing heavily, Jonathan looked around at his team. "Is everyone all right?" Nods and murmurs of agreement reassured him. They had escaped, but the danger was far from over. The data they had gathered was critical, and they needed to get it back to Imperius Prime. The return journey was fraught with tension, but they managed to send a preliminary transmission ahead, alerting the Council to their findings. As they docked back at the capital, they were met with a flurry of activity. The Council had already begun mobilizing resources and preparing evacuation protocols based on the initial data. In a hastily convened meeting, Jonathan and Amelia presented their full report. The evidence was now undeniable. The black hole's trajectory and acceleration meant that action had to be immediate and decisive. "We have confirmed the threat beyond any doubt," Jonathan said, his voice firm. "Evacuation plans must be executed at once. Every delay could cost lives." The Council members, now fully convinced, moved quickly to implement the evacuation. Ships were dispatched to outer colonies, messages sent to every inhabited system within the galaxy. It was a monumental effort, but the cooperation and unity displayed were unprecedented. Amelia continued to work on refining the data and coordinating with scientific teams across the Empire. Meanwhile, Jonathan liaised with military leaders, ensuring that defensive measures were in place to protect the evacuating populations. Amidst the flurry of activity, a shadowy figure approached Jonathan. It was Counselor Revan, known for his secretive nature. "Commander, a word in private," he said quietly. Jonathan followed Revan to a secluded alcove. "What is it, Counselor?" Revan's expression was grave. "There are factions within the Empire who knew about this threat but chose to conceal it. They believed it would give them control over the remaining resources and territories." Jonathan's jaw tightened. "Are you saying this was deliberate?" "Not by all, but by a powerful few. They will try to sabotage our efforts to save as many as possible. We must be vigilant. Jonathan nodded, his resolve hardening. We won't let them succeed. Every life is worth saving. As the evacuation efforts ramped up, Jonathan kept a close watch for any signs of sabotage. The stakes were higher than ever, but with the Empire united in purpose, there was hope for survival. The final stages of the evacuation were underway. Imperius Prime buzzed with the organized chaos of ships loading passengers, supplies being stockpiled, and families saying hurried goodbyes. Jonathan McGregor and Dr. Amelia Hawkins coordinated efforts from the command center, their faces etched with determination. The magnitude of their task was overwhelming, but they pressed on, driven by a shared commitment to save as many lives as possible. Jonathan stood at the helm of operations, issuing orders with precision. Get the next wave of transports to Sector 7, he instructed. We need to keep the flow steady. No delays. His voice carried a calm authority that inspired confidence in those around him. Amelia was in the science division, working with a team of scientists to refine the data and optimize the evacuation routes. She monitored the progress of the black hole, its inexorable advance a constant reminder of the urgency of their mission. We need to accelerate the timeline, she said to her colleagues. Every minute counts. As the evacuation progressed, Jonathan received a troubling report. Sabotage had been detected in one of the outer sectors. Key systems had been tampered with, threatening the safety of several transport ships. He immediately contacted Admiral Marcus Tiberius. We have a problem, Jonathan said. Sabotage in Sector 4. We need to secure the area and ensure the transports can depart safely. Admiral Tiberius responded without hesitation. I'll handle it. You focus on keeping the evacuation on track. His trust in Jonathan's leadership was evident, a stark contrast to their earlier skepticism. Jonathan assembled a security team and headed to Sector 4. The area was in disarray, with engineers scrambling to repair the damaged systems. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing, said one of the engineers. It's going to take time to fix. We don't have time, Jonathan replied. Do what you can. We'll provide cover. As they worked, Jonathan's thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Counselor Revan. Commander, I've identified the saboteurs. They're a faction within the Empire who believe controlling the evacuation will give them leverage. Jonathan's eyes narrowed. Where are they now? Trying to escape on one of the transports, Revan said. Jonathan quickly formulated a plan. We'll intercept them. We can't allow this sabotage to continue. The security team moved swiftly, tracking the saboteurs to a loading bay. A brief but intense skirmish ensued. The saboteurs were subdued, and the damaged systems were repaired just in time for the transports to leave safely. Jonathan breathed a sigh of relief, knowing they had narrowly averted disaster. Back at the command center, Amelia was coordinating with the scientific community across the galaxy. The data from the black hole had been shared widely, and efforts to understand and counter its effects were in full swing. She received a transmission from a distant research station. Dr. Hawkins, we've developed a method that could potentially slow the black hole's advance. It's a long shot, but it might buy us more time. Amelia's eyes lit up with hope. Send the details immediately. We'll do everything we can to implement it. She relayed the information to Jonathan, who recognized the potential impact. This could change everything, he said, but we'll need the Council's approval to proceed. They presented the plan to the Council, emphasizing the need for swift action. The Council, now fully aware of the gravity of the situation, approved the proposal without delay. Teams across the Empire began working on deploying the new technology, a collective effort that showcased the strength of their unity. As the final transports departed, Jonathan and Amelia stood together, overseeing the evacuation's completion. The galaxy had mobilized in an unprecedented show of cooperation and resolve. Families, soldiers, scientists, and leaders all worked together, driven by a shared purpose. We've done everything we can, Jonathan said quietly. Now we have to hope it's enough. Amelia nodded, her eyes reflecting the weight of their experiences. Whatever happens, we gave them a fighting chance. That's what matters. Their mission had pushed them to their limits, tested their resolve, and forced them to confront the darkest aspects of human nature. Yet, it also revealed the best in people. Their capacity for bravery, sacrifice, and unwavering determination. The black hole continued its advance, but the efforts to counter it were underway. The evacuation had saved billions, and the galaxy now stood united against the cosmic threat. Jonathan and Amelia knew that the road ahead was fraught with challenges, but they faced it with a renewed sense of purpose. In the command center, the screens displayed the departing ships, each one a symbol of survival and hope. Jonathan turned to Amelia. "Let's get to work. There's still much to do."